What is up, World Wrestling Vlog crew? What is up, Paul and Captain Billy? How is everyone doing? I hope y'all have been having a fantastic weekend. So far, so good on our end. I am out of California, so that's a plus always. But yeah, man, there's been a lot going on in the world of wrestling, and we've been away for a little bit because WrestleMania weekend, everybody wants to watch that, and then I'm traveling, and Bill and Paul were traveling, and oh boy,
Right.
here we go. To the winner goes the spoils. Referee Billy J. What did you win that in?
That was from Mr. John Heald. And then this one is from the Fantastic Cruising channel because I won.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, Mr. Paul, what have you been up to?
Other than the cruise on the Pride, pretty much just working.
Little Randy Owen dancing, shagging on the boulevard.
Pretty much, just chill. That's all we know how to do. I don't live an exotic life like Billy J does there.
Exotic. Yeah, Billy J, he lives it on the edge, buddy. He's
I sure do.
Yeah, Aerosmith wrote a song or two about him. So, hey, we got Timmy Ray the King. He has been waiting in this chat since we left. No, but welcome in, Timmy. We are back in different time here a little bit, 10 o'clock. But since Danny has a little bit, his schedule's a little up in the air right now, I figured we'd move it left to 10 o'clock because, we're all middle-aged men and we get tired. We've got Miss Megs and Cheese in the house.
Hello, beautiful.
One of our wonderful ring valets, and the other ring valet, Miss Chastity from Moonlight Adventures. Yeah, we come bookended. And we got Miss Ashley Ratliff. Welcome in. Good to see you. Meg said she was a mini golf winner and a shuffleboard winner. Oh, we have a mini golf and who would that be? Would that be young Billy or young Paul?
Not me.
One of each. I won the mini golf.
Attaboy.
By default, because Miss Sandy had already won one of the other things and wasn't eligible. She actually got a hole in one, though.
If I was there, I would have won, but I was not present.
Well, since we've been away, we've had a WrestleMania. We've had some things occur in AEW that were what they were. Revolution happened. Really good match between MJF and Bryan Danielson. Fantastic match. One for the books, in my opinion. Put both men over. It was a fantastic match. The rest of Revolution was just it was what it was. That MJF match was good. And FTR's back. So that's great news.
Yep.
That is great news. But a lot of folks seem to be testing the waters, thinking about jumping ship and going on over to AEW, especially with this latest sale to Endeavor. And so what do you guys think about them leaving Vince McMahon on the board of directors and going to be in charge of creative? How do you think that's going to go?
It could get interesting.
Go ahead, Paul.
I just say it could get interesting. Like I said, this is just rumor. I haven't confirmed it, but supposedly WWE let Triple H go. And that supposedly, and I can see where it would, if it did happen, upset a lot of people backstage, a lot of talent, because they were really into the stuff that Triple H was doing with storylines, and it brought Regal back. So I don't know. I mean, money talks, but I mean, at some point, you've also got to say, where's my career going? Is this just a paycheck, or do I want to be used properly and be a household name?
Yeah. So, yeah, Timmy Ray, that's what we're talking about. And Endeavor is the parent company or the corporation that's over the UFC. And yeah, so it's a partnership, UFC and WWE. We're going to see how that plays out. What are going to be the forbidden door opportunities that happen? There's several guys like Chael Sonnen and Conor McGregor. There's a number of them who have toyed with the idea of going to professional wrestling. And of course, we've already got, I'd kind of like to see what old Matt Riddle can do now that he's been away from the octagon for a while. Will some of those things come up? I don't know. I'm sure some guys toward the end of their career in UFC, like a McGregor, he's got the mouth for it. There's a few of them that have the mouth for it for sure. And that could get interesting. But I just don't know. I think the only bit of good news. Well, there's two bits of good news. It stayed in country. That's good. And then the other bit of good news is that it went to a company that's not going to be so beholden to some sort of PG-13 or whatever. So, but we know anything about Vince, if he still has a hand in creative, it's just going to get ugly. And from what I understand, Monday Night Raw was pretty rough. But some big belt changes at WrestleMania. So what did we see? We saw the tag belts change hands. So
that kind of surprised me.
Yeah, me too. Generico and Steen back again. I'd love to see. I would love to see him go and throw on the Generico mask.
It'd be worth watching, no doubt. But it'd be lost probably on most WWE fans.
Yeah,
that was a few years ago.
Yeah,
but he was good.
I was on someone's live the other day, and they were doing like an all day live, and they were playing Kevin Owens music, and I put in "Fight Steen Fight," and like probably only a quarter of the people, the rest of them were just putting like question marks, and even the guy that was doing the live was like, "I don't know what that means." Then stop playing the music because you suck. But yeah. Oh man,
he had a little more fire to him, as Steen, at least in my opinion.
He called himself Mr. Wrestling for a while. Kevin Steen, Mr. Wrestling, man of however many holds he said he had or moves. Yeah, there was some good stuff. I used to like the guy on Ring of Honor around that time, the Man's Man, whatever. He just looked like a 70s or 80s, machismo guy. I wish I could remember his name. The greatest man that ever lived or something was his. He actually is a very good wrestler. He reminds me a lot of Jack Vaughn. Big Jack Vaughn fan.
I am drawing a blank.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name. I'm gonna have to look it up now. Here we go. Ring of Honor.
Silas Young.
Yes, Silas Young. Yeah, I always enjoyed watching him. He was solid. So have you guys been watching any Jack Vaughn? You know anything about that guy?
I have not.
Nope.
Every once in a while, I'll hang something on the World Wrestling Vlog Facebook page, but he's the indie thigh slapper guy. So he does a bunch of videos about.
Okay, I've seen.
Yeah, I got you.
I've seen it.
Yeah, and he's actually a really good wrestler. I could see him winding up on the AEW roster. He seems like the kind of guy that they would employ. But he's good. He's actually good, and apparently he has a top-notch training school. But so one thing that I did predict that happened is Rhea Ripley is now your Raw Women's Champion, or is she SmackDown? She's SmackDown, right?
SmackDown.
Yeah, SmackDown. Which was the most prestigious of the two because Charlotte was holding it. And I say, I like Rhea. She's solid. She is good. You need to put all those bad chicks that can actually go in the same brand. Put the ugly one, real ugly. I can't remember her name. The Black Heart or whatever.
Natalia?
Black Heart. The one that runs around with Rhonda. See, this is the problem with the women's division. I can name you the big names, but the rest of them, Shotzi's okay. They've made Natalia, like, they've minimized her, and she looks foolish with her stupid hat and all that stuff. I don't know. The women's division in both brands is just really bad. Or 3 brands, the 2 brands and the 2 promotions. Going to be interesting though, because AEW Forbidden Door is coming up, and with that they partner with New Japan. So will we see some Mercedes Moné? And apparently, Asuka has requested her release, and she would like to go back to Japan. It's been said. A lot of crazy rumors going around after this buyout. New Japan may build a heck of a women's division over there. We appreciate that, Timmy Ray. Yeah, y'all. Did y'all get rained out this weekend? I guess no racing. NWA Anderson Brothers. Well, they went a long way. You talking about Arn and Tully, or Arn and not Arn and Tully, Arn and boy, I'm having a hard time tonight, Paul.
Gene and Ole.
Ole, there you go. Yeah. What are you sipping on over there, Billy J?
Diet Mountain Dew.
What else do we have? We did not have a belt change. Surprise, surprise for the Undisputed. And again, I hate to admit this, but I have not watched WrestleMania just because of the craziness we've had around here. So I thought about wearing the lucha mask tonight to hide my shame. But it looks like, match of the night candidate potentially for WrestleMania was the triple threat with Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre. I saw like the punch counts and the chop count, and a lot of chops being thrown.
Yep.
A lot of chops being received. So, what did you think about that match, Billy?
I thought it was pretty good. I don't want to be involved in that match, so we beat up each other quite a bit.
I don't want to be in any match with Gunther.
He's a pretty good size old boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is. He lays it in there, buddy. And when you get those 3 guys, those are 3 guys that like to lay it in. Ooh. A lot of flesh being slapped.
Yeah, Sheamus always been like it. I've seen his chest, after some matches, and of course he's pale white to begin with, but you could tell, just like almost whelps on him from taking chops and stuff.
I've heard stories, or actually, it's not a story. It's what actually happened. But on Flair's podcast, he talks about how the top layer of his skin would come off every night from getting chopped so much. And especially when it was him and Butch going back and forth. And he said that he would just go to bed with just a layer of Neosporin on his chest, wake up the next morning, and would be just healed up enough to look okay, but still be kind of bruised, and then just go right back to it and just chopping it. I mean, them boys were working, 6-7 nights a week, and you don't have a Flair match without some chopping.
Yeah, and he also went a few rounds with Wahoo too, and Wahoo would definitely lay him in.
Yep. But Wahoo was not the cross. He come across this way. He came with the forward chop. Yeah, the old Andre the Giant. Yeah, I mean, I guess I was too young when Andre was wrestling to kind of realize what was going on, other than it was just a unnaturally large man mauling other men. But the Giant, Big Show, just when he would back those guys up into the corner and you see those big paws coming down, ooh, man. It hits
I mean,
you
yeah,
right
I
in
mean, I
the
always
chest just
thought,
right.
can he really stop that?
I mean, I guess he can stop it the way he thinks he can stop it, but that impact and the amount of coverage coming down, it is what
Yes,
it is.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way you cannot feel that.
No, not at all. No, and I think there was a few times when he had that knockout punch that he probably. I'd like to see the ones where he hit stiff and potatoed the guy, because you know it wasn't clean every time. I mean, because most of them boys, and especially like Big Show, was trained right. I mean, their punches are not pulled. You know, they're just very accurate.
I would hope
It's
so.
amazing to go back and watch some of the older, you know, even before them, you know, and Flair especially, how just on point he was with his punching. That's part of the reason why people think it's fake. Um, it looks so freaking fake now. You know, you see them pulling their punch when they're 3 feet away from the head, or they do the elbow, which, you know, an elbow strike is very vicious, but a forearm to the face, not so much.
Well, yeah, I mean, when they hit him 10 times and the guy don't sell it, he's just sitting there waiting on them to do the next move.
Yeah, it's a damn shame is what it is. You can't tell a story anymore. You know, I was watching. This is what this has become, the wrestling curmudgeon show, where we gripe about new wrestling, but it's okay. But you know, I was watching just before we came on WCW Greed, which was an old pay-per-view. I think that was 01, 02 maybe.
Yep.
And you've got Dusty and the Nature Boy in the ring together, you know, and they didn't touch each other for the first 5 minutes, but so over. Crowd is going nuts because, you know, they're telling their story, and then, you know, when they start telling their story, and he finally he throws he throws Nate into the ropes, and he comes back and he raises up the bionic elbow, and you know, and just they could do so much by doing so little, and these guys, you know, we got to have a high work rate because we got to get our 7-star match from Meltzer. Tell the doggone story, man. Tell the doggone story. I tell you what, that if you have not went and watched Revolution and watched that MJF Danielson match, which was a 60-minute Iron Man, they did it right. They did it justice. They got all kinds of great things in. The story was fantastic, and MJF come away as just proving himself the greatest heel in the business today. What's up, Eric? Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you.
Check that out.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't know how I got to there, but I somehow always get to MJF. I feel like I need to be his manager. You know, I'll be the advocate. I am the advocate. I can see myself holding the belts and cowering in his presence. I tell you what, Paul Heyman, man, that guy, he's a master class. There's never going to be another one like that. I mean, I don't think without him, Roman is where he's at right now. It's, you know, the whole like soap opera buildup that they're doing backstage. Well, where's Jay? And you got to take care of Sammy and all this kind of. And every comment, there's some sort of facial expression from not just from Roman, but you know, you look at Paul, and Paul's like, "Oh, my tribal chief," and he's just holding the belts like he's Gollum over the precious ring, and he is great. He is great, and we will lose a national treasure when he bites the dust. Hopefully, not for a long time. So one thing that I didn't see, and it must not have been that great, but I was kind of looking forward to, was the Brood Edge match and the monster Finn Balor. Must not have been all that.
Well, Balor got injured because took a ladder to the head.
Yeah, that happens.
And that kind of slowed things down a little bit. And I think they changed a couple things, and Yeah, it was kind of meh after that.
You know, if Edge is going to come back, and he's probably only got 12, 18 months left before he really hangs it up, they need to give him somebody good to work with. I mean, I like Finn, but I just, you know, he needs to be working with like Cody. That would be fantastic. Cody and Edge, you know, work some AJ back in. Which, by the way, AJ Styles, where are you? Hadn't seen AJ. Him and the Good Brothers seem to have disappeared. I'm okay with not seeing the Good Brothers, except I do like watching Big LG run the ropes. He runs the ropes better than just about anybody. He throws himself in them ropes. He's got a Cena way about him. That's another Cena running them ropes, man. He can go. That stuff's underrated now, though. Nobody pays attention to running the ropes. How are you at running the ropes, Billy?
Oh, I've done my fair share of running the ropes.
Yeah.
I'm great, of course. I'm awesome.
How do those turnbuckles feel?
Turnbuckles are okay, depending. There are some pretty stiff turnbuckles out there in different rings. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are duct taped together or have electrical tape in the corner, and I'm sure those don't feel very nice.
The ropes are always different. Sometimes they're metal cables. Sometimes they're actual ropes. Yeah.
So do you know that the WWE, it's in their rules and regulations, they have to use ropes?
Yep.
So Vince will have it no other way. But so what is the turnbuckles and ropes made of in your ring behind you there, Billy J?
Just padding. Just padding for the turnbuckles.
Is that your backyard ring? Or
no, just a picture I found.
I know.
We our turnbuckles for our wrestling ring we had like foam things for the turnbuckles, and then they had actually custom turnbuckle covers, but sometimes they would fall apart. And we'd always have to zip tie them so they wouldn't fall off.
So what's the call, Billy, when you have a bushwhacker type individual and he decides to eat the turnbuckle? Is that automatic?
I haven't had that happen, but
So Timmy Ray is calling you out. He wants to go for the hat match. Loser takes hat. You just got that one broke in.
I do have a lot of wrestling moves that I know. So Timmy Ray, you've got some competition.
Yeah, he's got the leg scissor lock where he will shove his feet in your face and make you pay for OnlyFans pictures.
That's the move you like.
Anything else that we need to really talk about that happened on the old WrestleMania? How was the Logan Paul match? The build-up was good. I was watching some of the build-up, and I really like what they're doing with him.
Yeah, it was all right. And then I didn't know the other guy, the Logan Paul, the co-owner of the whatever energy drink or whatever they have. I didn't know who he was at all. And he showed up and got involved. And
I think he's just the co-host on his show.
Oh, I heard he was like the co-owner of the energy drink or something.
Yeah, I believe that's true too, but on Logan Paul's Impulsible or whatever it's called, Impulsive, I think he's also the co-host with him on that podcast. I believe. I did see that Logan Paul elbow dropped a can of Prime or something like that.
Yeah,
the Prime mascot.
Yep, that was the co-owner guy.
Oh, he was in there.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. I mean, you know, like did Endeavor buy WWE just so they could get the Pauls in an octagon?
Maybe.
They get their ass kicked in an octagon. I would like to see some boxers in the octagon. You know, it's harder and harder for me. And you know, if what we all fear happens to the WWE and it just becomes this non-sports thing, because it's getting less and less about sports and more and more telling the sitcoms, and the wrestling means less and less. So if AEW doesn't survive, um, I don't know. I feel like UFC is the only outlet for fellas like us at that point. So it's the only thing close. But there could be a resurgence in wrestling in this country. I mean, and I really would like to know also, because ratings are not taken in the same way. And if ratings were taken the way that they have always been taken with network access and network television, I don't see how a lot of shows would be on. So, how do they calculate now? How does the FCC get their numbers for stuff like streaming? And then, we're all YouTube guys, and like you jump on AEW's AEW Dark and Elevation, which are their like very B-level shows. And then you also got the NWA Power Hour. Those YouTube broadcasts, they do good numbers. If you look and see, their likes and and their hours watched and stuff like that. So, don't really know what that equates to for them, because I believe both have over 1 million subscribers. But um, how does that calculate in? Because WWE doesn't have a presence like that. So, and how many people watch their AEW or their, NWA Power through something like Fight TV and stuff like that. But Paul, you consume all your NWA through YouTube, right?
Yes, sir. It's just so much easier that way.
Yeah. I used to watch them on Facebook, but I don't know that they broadcast through Facebook anymore.
I don't think that they do. I don't know. I'm subscribed to them on YouTube, so that's how I get it there.
Yeah, I wish some real money would get behind it. I know Billy Corgan's got some, but I mean, there's some good dudes in NWA, and there's actually some good wrestling week to week, probably more consistent than AEW. And I like the studio feel that they put out there.
To me, what would be interesting if Triple H teamed up with NWA with all his connections.
Yeah.
Maybe they could get him a TV deal or something. I don't know.
MLW is always the one that you wonder about. But a lot of the wrestlers in MLW they always seem to be pretty disappointed with leadership and how they get paid, but they have some good talent, and if an MLW and a NWA got teamed up and you brought in somebody like a Triple H, how far could those brands go? Because I mean, there's enough talent out there, just like there's always been, even back in the WCW days, that you can have two promotions that would coexist. You can have more than two promotions. Really, your only limiting factor is who's training these guys. And some of these guys are not being trained, it doesn't look like.
Yep.
Unfortunately, and they're making it onto network television untrained.
Yep.
Rey Mysterio inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I did see where where Rhea and Dominic decided to walk out, but I also saw a lot of other videos and pictures where he was having a hard time keeping it together, shedding a lot of tears. But
Yep.
I saw a pretty cool nod to Eddie Guerrero from Ray coming in, and that's all good, and enjoy that. Eddie Guerrero was fantastic. He lies, he cheats, he steals, whatever it takes. Vicky Guerrero, she may be heading back to WWE. I saw. Who did? Who was it that Ray was Who did Ray have a match against?
His
Karrion
son,
Cross.
Dominic.
It was Dominic? I thought he
Yep.
wrestled Karrion Cross.
Nope. Ray versus Dominic.
How did that go?
As good as you thought it would be.
Hey, did Ray come out on top, or did the?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, with the help of the Latino World Order.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. See what happens with that. I do like him. He was, what was he in Lucha Underground? Anyway, that guy, I like him. Santos Escobar.
Yep.
The other two Lucha suits I could do without. You know what? I'm fine with it, Timmy Ray. He needed to put an ass whooping on him. He needed to tell you know what? I mean, if he's going to turn himself into adult and getting his dad's face, he's going to get something adult coming back at him.
Yep.
Ain't that how you feel about it, Paul?
Yes, sir. Pretty much. That pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine. They went a lot further than I think any of us would have been comfortable with going. Yeah, I mean, but I guess nowadays you have to go that far to sell something. I don't know, but yeah, I hope we've seen the end of the I've done time. but really, I mean, that's what's selling him as a heel, though. He's actually a very good heel. I couldn't do it as a babyface, but I do love to hate Dominic. It's fun to hate Dominic. So did the EST win her match? I'm assuming so, because Asuka was not happy. Yeah. And let's see, what else did we have? We had a 3-way. That was a belt change, wasn't it? So the Damage Control versus Trish.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Trish and Leah won.
Yeah. And they inducted Trish also, right, into the Hall of Fame.
Well, no, she's already. I think she's
yeah, that's right. She's already in. Who else got inducted?
Tim White, the referee.
Yep, remember that.
And
the Samoans.
The man from the Rising Sun, the one and only, the Great Muta.
That's right. The Muta got in.
And Andy Kaufman.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. So I heard they're doing another Bye Muta match over in Japan. So they did, the Bye Muta, and that was Darby was over there and everything, and Sting for that. But they're also doing a Bye Muto, because he is also known as the Great Muto in All Japan and New Japan. So apparently they're going to give him his farewell as the Muto as well. It was Keebler. Stacy Keebler was the other lady.
Yeah. Can I address Eric's other comment? He said, if I don't seem excited about any of the matches, keep saying it was okay. The matches are okay. I thought they were all predictable, except for the Cody and Roman. But they're okay. I mean, I wasn't like blown away by any particular match. So
I think they played it very safe, knowing that the sale was coming.
Yeah, that too.
That's what Dylan was thinking, and that may have been why they didn't change the heavyweight, or the Universal Championship Undisputed. It may be like they may look at it as when you're selling a business, you don't change the CEO out at the last minute. Maybe it's the same thing with the world champion. You don't want to. He's made you this money. Your stock price is this high because of Roman Reigns. You ride that horse and then make the change after. But it would have been a nice nod to Dusty. Would have been a great nod to Dusty. I don't know. They may have lost the opportunity to do that now. And that's unfortunate. I mean, I'm sure that they'll put the belt on Cody at some point, but
Yeah.
Being able to have that special WrestleMania moment, that's gone now, I think.
Well, we did have.
That's right,
Unfortunately,
Kenny.
had
I
the
don't believe they
passing.
will either. I don't believe they will, just because of the reasons behind his death. I don't think they'll ever put Pillman in. I wish they would, but sorry, Paul.
Oh, it's okay. I'm just saying we did have the passing, unfortunately, of a wrestling legend as well. Bushwhacker Butch, and I know if you only saw them as the Bushwhackers, they were a comical act pretty much in the WWF. But if you look at their work in other areas, they were phenomenal. They were tougher than a $2 steak. I mean, they won championships in places where you literally had to fight your way from the ring down in Puerto Rico, fight your way from the ring back to the locker room.
They were crazy in Puerto Rico.
Yes, sir.
Just, well, you can't ask Bruiser anymore, but that's another one. Wish we would have had Bruiser. Because he still would have been going, in the 90s. I'd love to have got to have seen him. Eric believes that they're going to let Roman break 1,000 days. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it at this point. I don't know. I don't know why you would change it unless you're looking to give somebody just a super push.
I heard mid thousand, so like 1,500 or something around there.
I mean, I don't know. I can't. Roman's great. He's doing great work. He's got Paul with him. Are they running the risk though now of cramming him down our throat? I mean, they've got to do something. If they don't change the belts out, they've at least got to do something for this next year that makes it look like the bloodline's falling apart. Bring Fatu in, something.
Well, the question I keep seeing people ask is who though? Now, Cody would have made sense to me. That would have made good sense. But I mean, Brock can't go much past a 10-minute match.
Yeah.
And they're not pushing anybody else. So, I mean.
No, and they don't have. I was hoping coming out of WrestleMania, they were going to do something with the whole like Jimmy and Jay, and maybe they will, but Jimmy and Jay break off. Roman's, he keeps Solo with him, and then if they don't bring Fatu in, let Jay be the leader of this separate faction. And but again, I mean, I don't know, who do you? I guess he'd probably bring Sammy back in. Sammy and Kevin Owens, I guess, would be their faction, and then who does Roman bring into his? Maybe some top tier heels like maybe he brings in Austin Theory, but none of that sounds appealing to me. I'm not gonna I mean, the Sammy, Kevin, and the two Usos, that's appealing. I would watch that. But the other group, Solo Sikoa, I think he does good work. I think he's fine to watch, but he doesn't get me excited. Roman does. I mean, when that music hits, man, I'm up. I'm gonna see what Roman's gonna do. And but I like Austin Theory, but I like him by himself. I don't think he goes in a faction. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. And I don't know if faction. Well, I actually do think that the WWE needs some factions. I think they do need factions. I think they're, if not factions, at least a loose group of people that cooperate. They got opportunity there with, yeah, there you go. I like that. Yeah, I mean, as a face or as an anti-face, I don't know. Like LA Knight could become that guy that puts an Austin Theory under his shoulder, and those two guys could go good together.
And LA Knight was not to be found on WrestleMania at all.
And he is so good. He is very good. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah,
That makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
None.
he's the best worker they got on there right now. Yeah. I mean, I've been watching that dude, since he was in the Indies, watching him on Impact, and I always thought he was fantastic.
See, I don't understand that. I thought that whole thing with Bray, as far out there as it got at times, I figured that was a push
Yeah.
for LA Knight, and then he's not even on Mania. Now, I could
Yeah.
see they'd have to do some work, but they could turn Solo on Roman. But they're going to have to do something with Solo's character. They're going to have to make him pure savage or, something.
He don't have the face for it.
Mm-mm.
I mean, he looks like a strong, athletic, can be mean Samoan, but he looks like, the guy that, hey, he's a heck of a middle linebacker. He had his college ride, played football, and you don't want to mess with him for sure, because if he gets a hold of you, but he's not going to rip your heart out like,
Like Umaga would.
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
believed that Umaga was a bad mother.
Yep.
Same thing with the Wild Samoans. I mean, there was something about them that they scared you. Like, really, like, I don't want to run into that dude anywhere. I think there was a touch of that with the Usos at one time, but they've done some silly things with them. And I
Yeah.
like the Usos, but they're never going to be enforcers. They're always going to be stooges for Roman now. I almost think they have to do some kind of atrocious turn on Roman that turns him face. Is kind of where they got to go next. And then maybe that's where The Rock comes in and, helps him out. And
Well,
then
something you brought up
that
earlier,
breaks apart. What's that?
supposedly McGregor's already taking shots on Twitter
Yeah.
at him because at a press conference, somebody brought that up, and Roman's like, I've been busy the last 2 days. I ain't had time to mess with that. So maybe that was part of the story. Roman's just like, I ain't got time to deal with Conor McGregor,
Yeah. That's what I say. It's going to be interesting to see with this cross promotional thing here if they're going to do some stuff like that. I mean, it would be crazy if you're the UFC and you just bought WWE and you didn't do something. There's at least going to be cross advertising. But if the original creative minds that brought you UFC in the first place are allowed to do their thing, what could we possibly see new? And I'm not talking about Tough Enough. That would be stupid, but what could we see as a hybrid version of UFC and WWE? I don't know. It could be awesome, and it could be the worst stuff we've ever seen on television. I mean, from the mind of Dana White that brought you Slap Fight. Yeah, that's something nobody's talked about. So Endeavor also owns Slap Fight.
Well, but there are legitimate crossovers that have done wonderful. And because when they come from UFC with that pedigree, they're believable in wrestling, like Shamrock, Dan Severn.
Yeah, Tank Abbott.
Well, I don't know how to bring up Tank. He kind of tanked.
Yeah, I mean,
but that's just because he got in shoot fights with some people who could really shoot, like the Steiners.
Yeah. Timmy Ray wants to. You need to have a match with Freebird Bam Bam.
Well, Timmy Ray, that's going to be kind of hard to do, buddy.
Better get my shovel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I ain't sure you could take him even now. Just saying. Bam Bam could go.
Gordy was the man. Yeah. That Gordy and Bruiser Brody, man, those are two that I would have loved to have seen in person.
That's why Cornette used him in Smoky Mountain for a while there. Of course, Gordy had his Japan stuff going on, so anything he did in the United States was just in between Japan dates because Japan owned him because they were paying him big money. But
Yeah.
Cornette loved him because he could use him as a face or he could use him as a heel. It didn't matter to Gordy.
Yeah. No, baby. You just put the money in the envelope, baby.
Exactly. It all pays the same.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And back then, being the territories the way they were, and you could get away with just about anything as far as characters went. Long as the workers could work.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. I've got some wrestling to watch. I don't know. I don't know if I want to go back and watch WrestleMania or not. Maybe I just need to watch the highlights. Is it worth going back and watching the whole 5-6 hours, whatever it was?
Well, I'd watch the highlights. I'd watch all the match of the Gunther match.
Yeah, that's one I want to go back and watch. I go back and watch Elia and Walter every once in a while. That modern age wrestling, that is the best wrestling match I've seen in modern age. That one, the CM Punk MJF dog collar match, and this Danielson Iron Man match they just had with MJF was fantastic. I like that SummerSlam match with Roman and Brock.
Yep.
You know what? That was one of the first times I've kind of got out of my seat and really got excited about a WWE pay-per-view match in a long time. The last time I jumped out of my seat in a WWE pay-per-view, I think it was the Tampa WrestleMania when Seth Rollins, he was going for the curb stomp on Randy Orton, and Randy Orton popped up and threw him up higher in the air and caught him in the RKO.
Yep.
That was sweet right there, buddy.
Where is Randy Orton?
He's supposed to be coming back. He had surgery, and I think his rehab's almost done now. I know I follow him on Instagram, and his wife has some concerns about him. They're still trying to figure out,
too.
But he definitely wants to at least make one more run. Personally, I mean, the workman-like mentality he's had, and you can't speak bad about Cena either because Cena's done very well. But I feel like Orton deserves to be right up there as far as 16 championships, and to me, I think Orton's more complete than John Cena.
Yep.
But this WWE being so, we've kicked around the idea before of something needed to change. They needed to split up the rosters and, maybe actually have like almost a complete different federation, if you will. So, Dana White may have some stuff up his sleeve to get things interesting again.
Yeah, I mean, I'd kind of like to see a they had the Tough Enough show there for a while. That was kind of like the Ultimate Fighter in a way. I'd like to see some of that stuff come back, but not as much for show and more like hey, we have. I don't even know how you would do it. He has the talent down there in the Performance Center to do it. I know that, but how would you do the grading on that? Because obviously it is what it is. You get two guys in the ring working together, and do you have Road Dogg and all these guys that are working behind the scenes at the Performance Center, your Adrian Streets and whatever, and do you score it like a dance? I hate to say it, but and do you look at the guys' work and is that how they pass? I think that would be revealing too much of the business. I don't think you'd do that.
You would think though, with people like Adrian Street involved, and I'm sure Regal's back involved with training. I mean, you'd be a fool not to have Regal down there at least once a week or something. That they would be teaching some more of these guys the old catch as catch can style.
Yeah.
Instead of just the theatrics of wrestling, if you will.
And see, I think that could sell. I think a legit strong style of wrestling as some kind of hybrid between WWE and UFC. So, no fists are thrown, but the catch and catch can choke the guy out, submit him, pin him, pin him for real.
Yes, sir.
All those kind of things. I think there's money in that.
Well, it would go
And
great with the UFC.
yeah, well,
Like
exactly.
you
I mean,
said.
if you've got guys like Riddle, which Riddle has, I'll use Riddle as an example just because he has been a mixed martial artist, or he claims he still is. But a guy like that never had been, but that's his style in the WWE, and he's trained in jiu-jitsu and he's wrestled and all these things,
Well, I mean, then you also
and
have
this is the
Lashley. He done the Bellator or whatever they call it.
yeah, he was Bellator champion for a while. Yeah, he's a legit bad dude. I think oh, Jack Swagger, he's still I don't think he's ever been beat. I don't know if he had more than 4 or 5 matches, but he fought Bellator as well.
What is Timmy asking about? It's hard for me to bring up chat. Said somebody a question about the NWA or something.
Oh, the Anderson brothers.
Yeah, the Anderson brothers.
Oh, I think Gene's dead probably. Ole, he's probably cussing somebody out in a grocery store parking lot somewhere. And Arn's working with AEW, I think, or he was at one time.
He was at one time. I wonder if he's trying to get back over to WWE so he can work with Cody, or was that always just a?
I like that idea. I don't know if it was, but it made sense. It made great sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Arn, perfect mentor.
I'd be interested to see what Cody could do in AEW now that it seems like that Tony is a little more open to getting away from the ideas of the Buckaroos and Kenny Olivier.
Well, that whole thing was pretty much started around Cody, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he was an EVP and he brought money and the cons. So he essentially, Tony wanted to do it, but there was something about, because Cody's really a good businessman, some deal that was made out between him and Mr. Khan, which pushed the whole deal over the edge. But yeah, I don't. It's unfortunate because he had his part of the show and he had his storyline, and then like nothing else supported it. It was all the other ruckus and mayhem going on around it, and they started a real good angle with him and Malachi Black, and Malachi came in and knocked him out with one kick first time they went face to face, and Cody alluded to the fact that he was going to retire, and there was this buildup, and then they let Malachi get beat and made him look weak, and like it just none of it made sense. It was just ruckus.
See, Malachi, I buy him as a force, not necessarily unbeatable, but did you know you're going to be on your A game?
Yeah, he'd knock you out with one kick. That's legit, and he can go to the ground with anybody with that Dutch Muay Thai. And then Cody, he's a collegiate style wrestler, and he flies around, but he's not like the quickest, fastest. He don't look like a luchador when he flies around. So it's pretty good thing. He wins with the intangibles, the build up and the shaking the ropes, but Brandy hurt him in AEW too. They needed to stop letting Brandy talk. They've kept her off the TV in WWE.
I'd like to see Dustin go start teaming up with the NWA and get a run with the big gold there, the 10 pounds of gold.
I don't know what Dustin's going to do. I think he's teasing retirement. I think.
Yeah, I can understand that too. I mean, he's pretty much done everything but been the world's champion.
But he's in better shape and better in the ring than the majority of these guys that are in their prime right now.
That's true.
Yeah. I'd like to see him get back with his brother. Is what I'd like to see that, but I don't know that he would go back over there. I mean, I'm sure any of them would because that money's good. That money's hard to. But let's see.
I wonder if the money's going to change now.
No, I don't believe that's going to happen, Timmy Ray. As much money as Vince McMahon has, that Endeavor Group has much, much more.
Yep.
Now it's all over. The McMahons will never. Well, I don't want to say they will never own another wrestling organization, but I don't believe Vince will. I think this is it for Vince.
Why would he?
Yeah.
I don't know why he's still hanging around.
I don't either.
He should have take the money and run a long time ago.
Have y'all seen the recent pictures of him, or is that stuff I'm seeing photoshopped?
That pencil mustache
real.
thing he's got going on?
That's real.
Yeah, and the shoe polish hair.
Oh, boy.
That's real.
He's been hanging out with his buddy Rudolph too much. Mr. Giuliani. Lee. Could somebody not have told that man when he was in that press conference that his shoe polish was running in his eyes? Golly, bum. Why are we letting our great grandpas run the country? Can somebody tell me that?
I have no idea. But I'm trying to be optimistic about this and think, this could be one of the best things that's happened in a long time for the WWE. So,
yeah, I mean, it could be. I would have had more hope for it though if they would have told Vince to take his check and leave.
Yeah, that's what I understand. Why did Triple H get the heave ho?
Because I mean, Vince has his sell the sizzle and not the steak idea, which is half the reason why we didn't see a title change. They had the build, and then I'm going to take it from you. I'm not going to give you, what'd you think, pal? I was going to let you get what you wanted, pal. You got to pay for what you want, pal.
Oh, man.
All right. Hey,
I love to knock Vince, but, when he's right, he's right. I mean, Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Bret Hart.
You can't argue with all of them. And he bought WWE from his dad for $1 million. And he just sold it for, was it $6 million or $6 billion with a B?
9.3.
9.3. Wow. Yeah. So there you go. Say what you want to about him. He may have ruined your wrestling, but he lined his pockets. Yeah. I mean, he did. He wanted it to be what it was. WrestleMania 1 is Vince McMahon. And that's what his vision of WWE has always been, is that entertainment part of it. It's just unfortunate that the other organizations were not able to keep up for lack of the ability to either agree with each other or just they ran out of money. Crockett probably could have got it done, but
yeah, if Crockett, well, you've heard people say a bunch of times, especially if you like me and listen to Jim Crockett, or Jim Cornette, if Crockett would have never tried to go west of the Mississippi and stayed out of the Northeast, he had a powerhouse there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what was it? Was it Starrcade 83, 84?
Greensboro.
The Flair for the gold. That pay-per-view. That was ahead of its time. I mean, that was a really good pay-per-view. Still hadn't seen one as good as that since. There have been probably a card of matches that have been better, but as far as the way that thing was put together, and the level of wrestling that went on throughout that entire event, you can't beat that.
True.
and they were trying to do some things. They were the first ones to have the camera that looked down on top of the ring. And I don't know if you know the story behind that, but they actually had, and you know how big the cameras and stuff were back then, but they had somebody climb the scaffolding and film down with one of those big shoulder cameras back then. But it was really cool to look down on the Flair match with that overhead camera. But Paul, I'm going to give you the solo layout, my friend, and let us know what you got coming up this week.
About like normal. Not a whole lot of anything. I have a booze news, the news that you can use, premiering tomorrow night at 6:45. And I have a this week in history little thing I've started doing that'll drop in the morning sometime. And I'm going to try to do a little Easter thing tomorrow, probably around noon or so. Just a little video. That's about it.
Yep, he will rise tomorrow. So Paul or Miss Meg, if you'd like, Miss Meg usually does a premiere just prior to shooting the breeze on Sundays at 8:00. Does Miss Meg have anything coming out tomorrow?
I do not know. I hope so. I like watching her stuff.
Yeah.
She's way better than I am. I don't know if anybody's noticed that or not.
Yep, I agree.
Her progression is really good. I mean, she's the past 6 months or so, she's really, her editing has went way. I mean, it's good stuff.
Billy, how did I know you were going to agree with me?
Yeah, she's doing a great job. So just check out
You
her
ever notice
Carnival
anytime I diss myself, Billy trips over himself to agree with me?
Yep, I sure do.
All right. Billy, what you got coming up this week?
I actually am putting out content. So every Friday, I'm part of the Raid Parade, and I've been putting out vlogs. So my next one, well, also I'm doing things on Monday or Tuesday, but I've also been putting out a couple shorts as well. But Friday, Raid Parade, I should have a video for Grand Cayman, even though I didn't go in the Grand Cayman. But most of the vlog will be about Roatan, Honduras, and me holding a sloth. And so that'll be coming out Friday. And that's all I got.
What is so grand about the Caymans there?
That's a nice port. I mean, it's clean, it's safe. I don't know.
Specifically the Caymans. What about the Caymans there are greater than the Caymans in other places?
I don't know.
They must taste a little better. I don't know. They're grand.
Maybe.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
They don't have BBD rum. We know that.
All right. So what do we got going on? So tomorrow, the Moonlight Adventures will be live, 8:00 Easter special. Join us. We will keep it PG for Jesus because tomorrow is Easter. And so, yeah, we'll keep it PG. We will be drinking wine, though. We will be having some wine. And we will have an Easter special with some Easter Would You Rather, most likely. And Comment Picker will be going. I hope that I'll be able to get out another MSC Meraviglia video. Hopefully Ocean K will be coming out soon, but not real sure. We took care of Eddie Lugo on Wow That Was Fast this week. Go over there and check that out. And we continue to pump out shorts daily. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. Check them out. You might get a little laugh. And don't forget about Plum Crazy. That is our other site. That's where that's where the Firebirds live now. That's where Bourbon will live. And another special character, a Southern dad. And he's going to be part of that team as well. Let's see what else we got. Oh, and Chastity has started a TikTok channel called Wine Not Cook It. WINE COOK it. Wine, not cook it. I think I left out a not on there. NOT, of course. But yeah, go check that out. She's doing great work over there on the Ticker Talker. But yeah, guys, let's see. Let me add myself back. There we go. And we appreciate you guys. I've got to get off here and watch a little bit of wrestling because I am way behind. And Timmy Ray has sent me a few things also that I need to get on. There's Plum Crazy. If you hadn't checked this out yet, we are Plum Crazy, and he ain't right. All right, Timmy, you go get on that, big dog. But we appreciate everyone for coming in and being here with us. We even appreciate Billy J for being here tonight.
Thanks.
I know that it drove away some, but not all. And we appreciate it. We appreciate Paul. We are the World Wrestling Vlog, and we
Appreciate y'all having me.
out.